What's up guys, Dan here. Thanks so much for joining in for this video. So today's going to be a little off course, a little off topic from our usual stuff here, but I don't know about you guys, but occasionally I go through phases where I'll get a little bit tired of driving the really hardcore sims, and sometimes I just need a break from the energy level that it takes to drive those kind of sims, and we'll just hop over into something like the gameplay you see here. And for whatever reason, lately I've been spending a lot of time in Horizon 5, and this is not a new game, it's been out for a long time, but this is one that I definitely enjoy going to pretty frequently. Even though I don't talk about it much on the channel, I do spend a ton of time just driving around endlessly in this open world on all these amazing cars that you can drive. Is it as realistic as your Assetto Corsas, your iRacings? No, obviously not. Is the force feedback as good? No, but it's decent enough, at least for me, to have a really good time. And I'm not really sure why the last couple of weeks I've been spending so much time in Horizon 5. I think maybe it has something to do with the recent rumors about the announcement for Forza Horizon 6 coming out soon, or at least sometime this year. I can't really put my finger on it, but whatever the reason, I've been really enjoying myself playing a lot of Forza Horizon 5 here. But as I've spent quite a bit of time in the last couple of weeks playing this, I have, remembered things that I really would like to be changed, fixed, fill in the blank word, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to call them improvements that need to be made for Horizon 6 to make it an overall better game. I'm sure it's going to be just as good, if not better, than Horizon 5, which I already think is a great game. But there are these 5 things that I really hope that Turn 10 and Playground Games will incorporate and make these changes and make it a little more better focused for those of us who kind of do like the more hardcore sim. I'm not expecting this thing to drive like Assetto Corsa or iRacing or anything like that, but these changes would be welcome. So without further ado, here are 5 improvements that I really hope that they will make in Forza Horizon 6. Now, the first thing is 100% visual wheel rotation. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they have fixed this in the most recent Forza Motorsports. So I believe that it probably will carry over to the new Forza Horizon 6, but in 5, when you are running the dashboard camera that shows the wheel rotation on screen only goes 90 degrees. And it is very off-putting if you are showing the wheel and you're holding a wheel like any of you, I'm sure, watching this video, you're all going to be playing this game with a actual steering wheel like I do. It's very off-putting when your wheel continues to rotate in your hand, your real wheel, but the game wheel stops at 90 degrees. Now, you may say, just turn that wheel off and run the other camera that they have available, that you don't see the wheel at all. And most of the time I do that. However, the way that they adjust the camera positions in that no wheel camera in some cars is very odd, and it forces me to go back to the standard dashboard camera that shows the wheel. So just having a selection to be able to either toggle on and off that wheel, or if it's going to be on mandatory, please give us full rotation that matches our real wheel steering wheel. That's definitely an improvement that needs to happen. All right, the second thing on my list here is the ability to have a one-click solution to turn off automatic world events. If you are not familiar with Forza Horizon, as you're driving around the world, there's things that you drive through that are auto-populated through the wheels. These can be top speed events, they can be drifting zones, speed zones. There's a bunch of different things that as you drive through them, they will engage like a timer or some menus that pop up on screen, various different things that to me actually impede into my casual driving around experience. I understand people that are playing for points and stuff like that like to have those drift zones and all that good stuff, but I would like us to have the option to turn those with one click completely off when you do not want them to engage when you drive through. A perfect example for me for this is I like to build top speed, high performance cars and go drive out on the highway and just cruise around with people. Most of the time it's people I don't know, but we're just cruising down the highway. And in the middle of the highway there on Horizon 5, there is a speed zone that's about maybe a quarter of the length of the entire highway itself. So as you go into that speed zone, it engages not only a timer and some sound effects and a speed calculator at the bottom of the screen, it also makes your GPS turn on and tell you, it's giving you directions. And I don't necessarily want that going on if my intention is not to be driving through that speed zone. It's just to be cruising down the highway. Now, I know you can do this if you go into a private session or if you do you know, some kind of certain game modes with people that you know, but I personally never play with people that I know. I would like a one-click solution to be able to turn those items off so they don't engage when I'm driving around in the standard online version of the world. The third thing here is full adjustment of seat position. In the last couple renditions of the Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon series, they've finally given us, at least on the PC, options to adjust our field of view. But what I find is I'm adjusting my field of view not for the proper field of view. I'm actually using that as a secondary way to get the seating position where I want it, but it's not a full-blown seating position. So I would love for them to implement and add in full adjustment of seat position. That means not affecting the field of view. I can move the seat up, down, forward, or back, and also adjust the angle. Because as I mentioned earlier, there are a lot of cockpit dashboard cameras that look really funny. They have a strange angle. It seems like there wasn't a lot of thought in how they placed the camera, and not having any access to move that around as we see fit on our own is a huge problem. So I'm really hoping that's an improvement that they add into Horizon 6, being able to have full adjustment of our seating position. All right, so the next thing is to have separation of transmission designs and difficulty levels. If you're familiar with the game, you will know that the way to go back and forth from using a clutch is inside the difficulty settings in the game. It has nothing to do with the actual transmission, or type, I should say, of transmission that would be in that car. So to get the most credits and points possible in the game settings, you want to engage the manual transmission with a clutch. That's the way you're going to get the most percentage and credit points back. But I don't want to run a clutch on in a vehicle that would not have that in the real world. For example, a high-end Ferrari, Lamborghini, GT3 cars, any kind of race car. I don't want to have to turn the transmission back to automatic mode to make them work properly, nor do I want to have to it affect the amount of credits I get. If you've played the game, you'll know what I'm talking about here. I want Horizon 6 to be smart enough to know that if I jump from a vehicle that is a manual transmission in the real world to another vehicle that is a automatic dual clutch, torque converter, automatic transmission, whatever it may be, I want the game to be smart enough to understand that I did that, and I don't want to have to hop back into the menu to change the level of difficulty to make that car work properly as it should in the real world. If I'm driving a car with a dual clutch, make it act like a dual clutch. If I'm driving a car with a manual transmission and I have an H pattern shifter and the game is aware that I have one and I have a clutch, make it work like a clutch. Let's get some separation between those two things. I understand why they do it, because they're trying to increase some kind of engagement in the difficulty level, and they're trying to entice people to run a harder difficulty level, but it just has proven over the years, every single Forza game, it doesn't work as intended, at least not the way I look at it. Let me know in the comments if you guys see this same problem, or maybe if I'm overthinking this. But again, I just think the difficulty level and the credit system needs to be separate from the transmission design. Whatever car I get in, whatever kind of transmission that has, in the real world, that is the way it needs to work in game, unless I specifically tell it not to. Hope that makes sense, but that's definitely an improvement I really hope to see in Horizon 6. And then the final one here, maybe not a lot of people find this irritating, but I do, because I don't do a lot. I don't join into like friends lobbies and stuff like that. I just sit down and play whenever I have time. So I hop right into the standard online server, which has people from all over the world in it, driving around all different kind of cars. Sometimes I go find people to just randomly cruise with. Sometimes I'll go racing around with people. Sometimes I'll just be out by myself. But one thing that is very annoying for someone in my position is the automatic ghosting of the other real world player cars. Now, I want to separate this. I'm not saying I want to be able to crash into people, and I also don't want them to be able to crash into me unless it's a certain event that requires that to happen, like a race or something like that. But the part that I'm talking about is not the physical contact. It is the aspect of the cars literally ghosting when you get close to them, even if you are not intentionally hitting them or hitting them at all, even by accident. So if for example, if you're going to try to take a photo mode or drone, or you just trying to drive around and enjoy the other cars around you, it is very annoying that at a certain distance away from them, they automatically ghost. I would like that to be an option to me, the player, whether or not the other cars ghost around me. Give me a couple different options. Do I want the ghosting to turn off? Yes or no? Give me a toggle for that. And then separately, do I want the other cars to be able to hit me? Give me a toggle for that. Likewise, let that option and those scenarios be available to choose for that player as well. What we physically see on screen can be different. It doesn't matter. As long as we're not making contact, we don't have to have the ghosting. To me, the ghosting kind of just pulls away from the fun and the liveliness of the game. So that is, again, another improvement that I hope that they add into the game. Of course, these are all hopes and dreams. We don't even know for sure if a Forza Horizon 6 is coming. If it is, I really hope it's not on the new game build of the new Forza Motorsports game, because that has proven to be really, really terrible performance-wise, even on the best systems, and they've really got some bugs and some issues to work out. So I'm hoping they don't try to port that over. I'm hoping they use something totally different. We will see if we even get one, because we haven't heard anything from Turn 10 or Playground Games. It's just been speculation running around the internet. But either way, though, if you have not played Forza Horizon 5, the existing one now, with a wheel, you absolutely need to try. Those of you out there who have a Moza wheelbase and you're not sure how to get it set up in the game, if you want to know, I've got a really good setup for my R12, which is basically just a carryover from my old R9. Very similar settings. So if you're in the Moza ecosystem and you want to know some reasonably decent settings, at least to me, to have a good time in Horizon 5, let me know and I can certainly make a video on that. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, guys. Let me know what you think, and let me know if you are currently playing Forza Horizon 5, if you ever play it, if you enjoy it, and if you are looking forward to Horizon 6. That's going to be it for this one, guys, and I'll talk with you in the next video. We'll see you later.